Hello and welcome to my show This Abroad Life. This show is all about helping students ease up their abroad study journey, and for those who are planning to apply abroad, then those students will get an idea of the current situation, which will help them decide whether or not to select particular country or educational university or college and all those things. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the importance of research because you are planning to go into a new world to study and things to consider while researching. So these are the two main topics. So the importance of research. It's really important to research where you are going because you are going to spend 2 to 3 years of your life if you are a full-time student, and it's a pretty long time. And if a baby is born, then in 2 to 3 years he or she will be ready to walk, and maybe if you are lucky, then call your name as well. Anyways, it's a pretty long time, and unless you are some exchange student, then you might be there for like 6 months or a year. However, a lot of us are lazy, and we try to skip the researching part like we skip our homework, and we will convince ourselves saying, "Ah, we'll do it later," but we know that we never do it. However, it's really important to research because you are going to face consequences if you are not researching currently, or you know, you'll face difficulties while you go there. And if you are going to a new country for abroad study where you haven't been before, then it's a new lifestyle, and I don't want you guys to there's a proverb in Nepali what we call adharama ढुङ्गा हान्नु, like hitting a stone at the black, and just praying for it to hit some target. So it should not be like that. And because it's a new lifestyle in a new country, then you need to be aware of what's their lifestyle. And you know the things that are common in your country might not be common in that particular country. That's why you really need to think about how to behave with people, and which things are right and which things are wrong. We should not just follow our friend or are other people are going there, so we are just going because they are going. So we should not be like that. So because you are going to spend like 2 to 3 years of your life, so it's very important to research and know whether that country or that university or that city fits the three main areas where we need to research. They are: number one is the country, and number two is the university, and number three is the city. So these are the three main topics that I'm going to discuss today. So the number one thing you need to research at first is the country. So whether you like that country or not, there's a feeling in your heart from where it comes that, oh, I like this country, I want to go and study there. And there are some countries where you don't like to study, so it should come from your heart. And the second thing about country is which language they use. So if you have been studying English for from since school, then it's really easy for you if the country you are going is also speaking English. The country you are going speaks German or Spanish, then you need to learn those languages as well. And the third thing about country is that it determines the cost, whether or not the education is free in that country, or maybe it might be cheap, or maybe it might be expensive as well. So whether or not you can afford. For example, in Germany from 2014, 16 states declared undergraduate study in public universities in Germany for all domestic and um, international students free. So if an education is free in certain country, in certain parts of the country, then that might determine whether you want to apply to that country or not. And there comes the affordability, and some people risk everything and just go for their abroad study. So that's putting a lot of thing under stake. So while they're studying, they will be under a lot of pressure to return back that money. So you need to be really careful in determining or selecting which country you want to go. The second thing that's really important to add to your research is the university or college you are planning to go, because the university determines the cost that you need to pay for your study. And based upon the university, the city also gets determined, but we'll talk about the city in the third place. So you need to select which university you are planning to study, and you need to look at its reputation, whether it's good or not, and whether it's good or not for the field you are planning to study. For example, some universities can be good in nursing, or you know and some can be good in IT and all those things like that. So you need to be mindful of which universities you want to go, and whether or not the field you want to study is good in that university. And if you have any friends who already studied in that university, then it will be really helpful, because they can provide inner insights about that university, and also they can help you, provide help and support for you, because that's where friends help each other. And also, uh, based upon universities, some universities provide college accommodation, which is maybe cheap, and in some cases expensive as well. You need to research about which university you want to go. Number one thing you need to consider is the cost, how much money you need to pay for your tuition fees. And one last thing is that why is it important to research university is because you don't want to go to some crappy places or colleges which gets closed before you graduate, or the course you want to study has not been approved by the affiliation organization. Otherwise, even if you complete your course, then your degree might not be valid, and maybe the degree is not usable in that country. So you need to be very mindful of which university or college you are planning to study. And the last thing you need to research is the city where you are planning to live. So based upon the university, most probably the city gets automatically determined. However, some universities have their campus in different locations. For example, Charles Sturt University in Australia has their campus locations in different places such as Sydney, Melbourne, and Wagga Wagga. So, based upon this, you need to determine in which city you are planning to study. Usually, a city determines the cost of living in that city, and usually, under cost of living, the accommodation is one of the most important thing. The room, whether it's expensive or not. If you are planning to rent a house, then how much expensive it is, so whether or not you can afford it. And it also includes transport and also food. So based upon the city, it gets determined how much you likely to be spending on a week. For example, Sydney is the most expensive city in Australia, as compared to Melbourne and Brisbane. So, based upon these things, you might want to research. And also the clothing and the weather. If you don't like cold weather, then you might want to, live in different city. And also, what you need to research is, are there any friends living in that city? So, if there are any friends, then they will obviously provide moral support, and They will show you around, and they might help you in getting some part-time jobs. So it's really important to research which city you are going to study for your abroad study. And also, the last thing you might want to add to your research is employment opportunities that you will get in particular city or a country. So if you are planning to get some work experience after your study, then you definitely need to search whether the city or the country you are planning to apply for will provide employment opportunities, or how easy it is to find a job in the related field that you are studying. So you also need to consider this while doing your research. These are the three things that I discussed today. So, the importance of research and the three main important things that we need to research while doing our research. The number one thing is the country we want to go, the number two thing is the university, and the number three thing is the city. I hope this podcast was helpful for you guys. Anyways, bye bye, keep in touch, and see you next week.